everybody, welcome to another edition of MagicReviewed.com. Today we've got another, this is I think the fourth disc set that I've done, each one having 2, 3, 4, 5 discs in it. This one is season 1 of At the Table live lecture series by Murphy's Magic. Now, if you're not familiar with this set, what they do is basically every week now. It started out once a month, but it just got so popular that they're doing it every week. They actually do a live streaming lecture. And the first season, I think the very first one was Michael Amar. Then it was Daniel Garcia, Jason England, Alex Pandrea, and John Armstrong. Those were the first 5 lecturers. And they do live streaming, so you can watch it as it happens. You can even type in questions and stuff like that if you want. And they actually answer the questions, and they'll say who the question was from and whatever. Then you can later download that for a fee. And then now you can get it on disc. And so what they're doing now, I just talked to Murphy's, they're no longer doing it season 1, season 2, whatever. So there's really only a season 1 disc. The future ones are going to be by month. So the October one just came, or October, I guess it would be the September one, just came out. And it has all of the DVDs from all the lectures that were done in September. I haven't got my hands on that yet. I'm hoping to get a review copy of it. But anyway, in my opinion, this live lecture series is one of the best new things to hit the magic scene in a very long time. It reminds me of we have lectures here at our local club occasionally, and but I haven't been to one for a long time. I think the last one I did was, it was probably Eugene Berger like 2 or 3 years ago. It was Daryl maybe about a year ago. And Danny Archer came. There's a few, but magic lectures, man, they're just so fun to go to, even if it's stuff just assuming the lecturer is decent and he's got a good stage presence and he knows what he's talking about. They're just fun to go to, and they remind me of my early days in magic, which again I think is a big thing that people forget their early days in magic, and they lose the touch with that feeling of wonder and astonishment. I know I talk about that all the time, but it's just true. Anyway, so this DVD set, this lecture series, is really bringing back the astonishment and the feelings of wonder that I miss so much. So, what you get here is, that's actually 5 discs there. Amar's got his own little section there, and then you got, you can't see Jason England's face there, but you got Danny Garcia, and then over here you got Alex Pandrea, and down below him is John Armstrong. Or sorry, Daniel Garcia. I don't know him personally, so I don't know if I'm allowed to call him Danny or not. So Daniel Garcia. Anyway, these lectures were great. All of them were really good. I think by far the best one was Michael Amar's. And what was cool about his, you may remember not too long ago, a couple years ago, they had the Magic Week on the Letterman show, and Amar was on there, and he, in my opinion, was the best performer on there. I think he did the best type of effects, he connected best with Letterman, and he just did a great job. And so they actually show the clips from the Letterman show, and then he talks about why he chose the effects, and then he teaches some parts about the effects, and explains what the thinking was, and what routines he did, and why he did them, and so on and so forth. So, very, very good lecture. Plus a lot of new stuff that he's never lectured about before. I thought it was really cool. The Daniel Garcia one, all of them had some great stuff in them. And also, all of them had, except for Amar's, had some mistakes where the performer just screwed up the trick. I'm pretty sure that's true about all of them, but it seems like almost every lecture that I've seen so far, and I've seen a lot of them, I get the downloads, and I've probably watched about 15 or 20 of them now. And it seems like everybody screws up a trick, it's just funny. So anyway, which I think is cool, so you can learn from that, or learn how they handled it or whatever. Anyway, so you have a different, the thing that's different about these lectures, typically if you go to a lecture, it's the one guy, lecturing, and he does whatever he wants. He does a show and then he explains it or whatever. These, you have a host, and the host basically stays up on stage or at the table with the lecturer the whole time. So Joshua J was the one who hosted Garcia and Amar, and then Eric Jones hosted Jason England's, and then I can't remember who hosted Alex Pandrea's, but then Mike Hankins did the John Armstrong lecture. He might have also done the Alex Pandrea one. Anyway, these lectures are about 2.5 hours long, and the only thing that was a little bit of a bummer to me was, and I don't remember if it was in all of the lectures, so I don't want to say that for sure, but it seems like it was in all of them, except for possibly Amar's. Again, I think his was almost perfect. The other ones, though, they would talk about an effect, and they would maybe show a clip of it, but they wouldn't do it in the studio, and they wouldn't teach you how it was done. That was a little bit frustrating. They would say, well, it's in this upcoming book of mine, or this DVD that I've sold, or whatever. And one of them was Alex Pandrea's. It's called Domino Effect, which I'm going to be reviewing that. It's a separate product. But he did that in lecture, and he didn't teach it. I thought that was a bit of a bummer. Particularly, I could be wrong about this, but I believe that Alex Pandrea is one of the producers or whatever with Blue Crown Magic. I may be wrong about that. So the Blue Crown Presents, but I think that's actually his company. And so if that's the case, he's got the rights to teach it. It'd be one thing, I just watched the. Am I rambling? I just watched the Mark Elsden lecture, and a lot of his products are released through Alakazam, Peter Nardi's magic company. And, it's one thing to say, well, I don't want to teach it because I actually don't, it's a product that Peter Nardi sells. But Mark Elsden did teach a bunch of that stuff anyway, and he got Peter Nardi's permission. Well, in the case with Alex and Pandrea, it's stuff he released himself, I think. I might be wrong about the whole Blue Crown thing. Maybe that's not his company, but I think it is. But he didn't teach the stuff, even though he released it through his own company. The stuff that was a little bit of a bummer. I'm not an expert lecturer. I've done a few lectures, and everything that I perform, I teach. And even if that means that, well, they're not going to buy the DVD now that I'm selling at the lecture because I just taught it to them, I still teach it to them. They paid to come to the lecture. I'm going to teach it to them. So I was a little bummed about that. Now, not everything was that way, and they did teach plenty of things, and a lot of great stuff was taught, but that was just one minor thing that bugged me. The other thing on the Armstrong video, I'm a big fan of John Armstrong. I really like his stuff. I like the way he thinks, and he's another one of those guys that just knows how to take classic stuff and fool the crap out of you with it. And you're like, I know I should know how that was done, but I have no idea. That's amazing. And his lecture was good, but there's a couple things that were weird. The main weird thing was he talked about his effect, Tiny Plunger, and it was like they just cut right into the middle of the explanation and demonstration of it, and so you felt kind of lost, like they just started. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it didn't seem like they started at the beginning and went through the end. It's just like, oh, we'll just randomly start at this point and we'll show you guys that. It was really weird. I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, not enough to give this thing any serious docking in points. I gave it 4.5 stars. I mean, it's $50 and you get 5 DVDs, and you're getting DVDs from Amar, Garcia, John Armstrong, Jason England. I mean, these are big names in magic, and basically you're paying $10 a DVD for them. So I just like the way they made me feel. It made me feel like my early days in magic, going to a lecture and still sort of being new and getting familiar with all this stuff. It was just really, really fun to watch. So that's it for this, guys. 4.5 stars. If you want to know what kind of material is taught, it's look at the ad copy. I think it gives a good list of that kind of stuff. But I will say this, all the material is very easy to do for the most part. Even Jason English stuff, which is more of the gambling demonstrations and poker deals and stuff like that, there's not a lot of crazy sleight of hand involved in that even. It's pretty, it's not, I wouldn't say it's beginner stuff, but it's more intermediate. So there you have it. I'm rambling. It's kind of hard to review this kind of a product because what you're really paying for is the lecture and the experience of these guys rather than just a bunch of tricks. So hopefully that helps. 4.5 stars, Stone Stats Jim. Let's take a look at random iTunes song of the moment. Patsy Cline, baby. Yes. Then you'll know.
You don't know the meaning.
I love it.
Of the word.
The last random iTunes song a minute ago was Iron Maiden. Now we're down to Patsy Cline. not down to. She's awesome. I love Patsy Cline. Anyway, whew, that was the most rambly DVD I've done in a while, or review I've done in a while. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to say thanks for watching, and see you on the next video. Peace out.